those that they work with, those that they represent, so that we can ensure that we're actually addressing those concerns. No, this was not a copy of an email that we needed because, frankly, we've been having discussions about the agenda that we share, and I'm not looking to micromanage every single person that works for me. I'm looking to trust them to do their job and know that ultimately I'll be responsible for the work that they and everyone in my city hall does. Thank you.
You were there at the meeting last night, but it's been reported that you're supportive of Brad Lambert challenging Jan Goldman. So can you confirm that reporting first of all? And if that's true, why is Jan Goldman a member of Congress that should be primary, but Joaquin Rodriguez is not?
I can confirm to you the things that I've actually said and the things that I've actually done. And last night, I spoke to DSA members, sharing the same message that I've shared in public as well, which is that I do not believe this is the right time to wage this primary. Right now, my plans are to meet with the president and make the case. As soon as I have any more information, I'll share it. Well, I'll be ready for whatever happens.
Yeah, right here.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor-elect, do you have any sense in advance of where you might find some common ground on...
Sorry, would you mind saying that one more time?
Sure. Do you have any sense in advance where you might find common ground with the president on the agenda and the case that you want to present? And where do you think you might have the most success with it?
You know, last year, after the president won his second term, I went to two of the neighborhoods that saw the largest swings towards Republicans. And that was Hillside Avenue in Queens and Fordham Road in the Bronx. And when I asked those New Yorkers who they voted for and why, I met many who voted for President Trump, and they told me it was the affordability crisis. It was cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they said that they remembered being able to afford their rent, their child care, their Con Ed, their public transit more 4 years ago than they could in that moment. And we ran a campaign focused on the same thing, cost of living. And what we found, actually, is that 1 in 10 New Yorkers who voted for Trump ended up voting for our campaign. And they did so because they're looking for leaders to actually deliver on the cost of living crisis. That's why everything comes back to making the case for an affordability agenda. I will meet with anyone. I will speak to everyone, so long as it could stand to benefit an economic agenda for New Yorkers. Yeah. And that's where I will always make the case.
Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? You're not cool?
Go, Jack.
Yeah.
So, you appointed Jessica Tisch as your next police commissioner yesterday. You've been talking about all the things where you agree on, right? You seem to have insinuated a new kind of SRG to respond to protests. What about things you don't agree on? What about the 2019 criminal justice reform? Where did you land on that? And as well as the gang database is something you used to call for during your campaign that you would eliminate.
You know, I think that these are disagreements that are actually signs of a healthy relationship. And I mean that in that too often mayors and leaders are looking to surround themselves with people who are characterized by the quickness with which they can say yes, as opposed to the quickness with which they can tell you their honest opinion. And I'm very clear in my support for the criminal legal reforms. For example, one disagreement that I have with what the commissioner has stated is I believe the issue with raise the age is not the language within the legislation. I believe the issue is the fact that there were significant amounts of money that were set to be delivered to help with the implementation of that criminal legal reform that were never released and continue to languish within Albany. That is one point of disagreement and one place where I continue to hope to advocate for the release of that fund.
And what about the gang database? Are you allowing her to keep that on? Is that something where you still disagree? Where do you land on that?
I continue to have concerns about the vast dragnet and ways in which many New Yorkers are being put into that database.
All right, we'll go right ahead.
Thank you. Just wanted to circle back on Holly's question. Are you saying that you're discouraging any DSA candidates, any progressive Democrats challenging Democratic incumbents in the House next year, number one? And then on something having to do with the PD2, yesterday it sounded...
Can I do the first one and then you go?
Sure.
Yeah. I spoke specifically about the race that was being considered yesterday, which is New York 8.
So you're not discouraging others?
This was not a sweeping statement. This was specific.
Got it. On PD, yesterday, after you announced Jessica Tisch as your police commissioner, it sounded like you're second-guessing letting the CCRP have full control over Officer Liston. What changed there? Why do you all of a sudden not want to wrestle control
what I've said is that my focus is on delivering immediate steps towards accountability. The CCRB is tasked with that accountability. And right now, we are seeing that petty politics and budget battles have rendered it all the more difficult for them to deliver that. In 2024, lack of funding led to the CCRB dropping at least 700 cases. And I've heard estimates from others that the number is actually, in fact, higher than that. What I am committing to is fully funding the CCRB immediately, such that we can ensure these days of these kinds of budget battles come to an end.
You used to say, though, that you wanted CCRB to have actual final say. It sounds like you no longer want that.
No, what I believe is that the CCRB's recommendation should be taken seriously, and that we should ensure they're able to make those recommendations time and again, not having to worry about whether they have the funding to assess those cases.
Yeah.
So Donald John
How's it going?
Trump has made it clear that he wants to mess with you. What's your plan going into the Oval Office tomorrow? Do you have a specific ask that you're going to focus on, or is it just a peacemaking meeting?
This is a meeting to share the facts about the affordability crisis in the city, a meeting to speak about the importance of public safety and economic security. You know, when we speak about what New Yorkers are going through right now, they are facing a reality that they may have to leave this city. You know, I have met New Yorkers time and time again who, when I ask them where they live, they tell me it's other states. They tell me they live in New Jersey, they live in Pennsylvania, they live in Connecticut. That's because we've priced them out. And my intention is to make clear to the president what New Yorkers are having to live through right now and how important it is for us to deliver for those same New Yorkers.
Plan to specifically ask about ICE, though? You know, stay out of New York? Like, you know, the affordability is a little more esoteric, a little broader.
Well, I think affordability was at the core of our campaign. And also, it was affordability based on a value of protecting each and every New Yorker. That means protecting them from price gouging in their lives. It also means protecting them from ICE agents and making it clear that I will look to be representing every single person who calls the city home.
All right, we got time for one more. Here, look at
Mr. Mayor-elect, you're going into the Oval Office, but you and the president have been openly critical of each other, name-calling, calling you by your middle name. How do you avoid being cocky in the Oval Office? You're on his turf, but he could attack. What's the plan?
Well, I think being a New Yorker means that you're prepared for all situations, all kind of comments, all kind of commentary. And at the end of it, the focus has to be, what's the case that you're making? Why are you there? And for me, it's not about myself. It's not about a relationship with an individual. It's about a relationship between New York City and the White House, the president, the federal administration. And I will look to make clear that my interest goes beyond any one of an individual. It's for the people that I look to represent. That's the case I'll make.
Do you take that in an Oval Office meeting, though? Because we saw what happened with President Zelensky. What happens? Do you swipe back?
I'll stand up for New Yorkers every single day.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
man.
Will you meet with Jeffries at all while you're in Washington?
This is the only meting I have to share details on. As soon as I have any more details on it. It's going to be happening tomorrow. Not as yet, brother, but I'll let you know when we do.
Thank you, Mamdani.